Well, hi there. I'm going to show you how to do my hang easy stitch. It's a pretty darn easy stitch, I would say. Doesn't curl at all, and so it's only 2 rows. I'm using a 5/8 inch. It has 36 pegs. It's a Cindywood loom, and I will show you the stitch. And this is it, the one we're going to be working with today. It's really a pretty stitch. A little bit harder to see on the pattern, but I did use a picture that shows the stitch more for the video. Okay, and I'm practicing on this one because I'm going to use this yarn in this stitch for project. But there you go, you can sort of see in the red what this pattern looks like. Really pretty. Okay, and the other side looks really nice too. Has a lot of texture. Look at it this way, you can see the texture more. See, lots and lots of texture. Both sides look good. So get a scarf or something with this, you'd be able to see both sides. Really nice. It looks very similar in the round. So if you do a hat and a scarf to match, they'll look pretty similar. Okay, now the yarn I'm using is La Bergerac de France. This is it. You can get it from their website in the USA and in Canada, and probably in a lot of different countries in the world too. But this is it here. The color that I'm using is called Tibet. And here it says Harlequin. This is in French. And it is 50% wool and 50% acrylic. And it just has so many amazing colors and a kind of sheen to the yarn. Kind of picking it up. It's one of my favorite yarns to work with. I really like it. Okay, and it's a bulky. I'll put that back. Okay, and the only other thing here is loom hook. Loom hook I'm using is from Steve Axelrod, and I'll give you a link to that. He sells it on Etsy. I'll give you a link to his Etsy shop if you're interested in a loom hook like this. I like it. It's easier on my hand and wrist and that kind of thing. Okay, so without further ado, let's talk more about this project and get started. Now this is a stitch video, so I'm only really showing you the stitch. But because I don't want you to have to wait for me to do a project to work with it, I will give you some tips. Okay, it doesn't curl at all, so I didn't do much. I just did a chain cast on, and I did 1 row of U-knit and 1 row of purl, and then I went right into the stitch. And it's a 2-row stitch, and because I'd done the row of purl, which is our row 1, after the knit, I went right into the second stitch. So there you go, there's your oh yeah, and I slipped the first stitch with an E-wrap. I usually don't usually slip stitches, but sometimes you have to. Because I used purl in this, you're always going to get a bumpy edge, so your choices are either to slip or to do a garter edge, really. And so because I did the pattern right to the edge, I decided to just slip the stitch, and that's working fabulous on both sides. Okay, so let's get started. So first row, I slipped this stitch. I did a E-wrap and then slipped the stitch, and I'll show you on the other end if you're not familiar with that. And then I'm going to purl row 1. So I just purl. I better prop the yarn back, this loom better here. There we go. Because I have to keep it in the camera and keep it stable. Okay, purl. So if you don't know how to purl, there's lots of videos on YouTube. But basically you just stick the loom hook in the loop, pull the working yarn through into a loop, and then put that loop on the peg. That's all there is to purling. Your yarn is under, and you pick it up from under. Okay, and put the loop on. That's all there is to purling. It's not hard. I have a lot of no purl stitches for people that prefer that, and they're easy stitches, but purling sometimes is a lot of fun, and it gives you a lot more stitches if you can purl. Okay, so that's row 1. And then I'm just going to do an E-wrap, knit it off, going to keep it nice and loose, and then I'm going to go to do the next stitch, and that's slipping the stitch from an E-wrap. Okay, now this stitch is my Jupiter stitch. So how you do that, go in front like you're doing a U-wrap, you come behind and you wrap it again, and then you're going to take the first one you wrapped and the bottom and put them over the top. Okay, wrap the next one, take the 2 bottom, put them over the top. Okay, that's all there is to this stitch. Now it's important when you do this that you take the 2 bottom ones over the top, because if you only took the bottom, then because these are the working yarn, all you're going to get is a thick U-wrap. You're not going to get a different stitch, so it's important you take these 2 bottom loops over the top. Okay, so U-wrap, behind, in front again, 2 bottoms over the top. Now you're in control of how much tension you use and how tight it is, because it's the working yarn that's doing this. If it's too tight, loosen it up. If it's too loose, tighten it up. But you should be able to easily knit over the 2 loops. And that's all there is to this. 2 rows. Okay, and then we come down here, E-wrap, knitting it off, and I'm going to slip the stitch, and I go right into the row of purl. Now the only difference when you do this one in the round is your purl will be coming from a different direction, but because the purl looks the same both directions pretty much, it'll look almost the same when you do this one in the round. So this is one of the pieces where your the piece you do in the round and the piece you do flat panel look a lot alike. And that's a nice thing, because so many stitches look very different when you do them in the round and do them flat. So now I'm going to purl this row again. I'm really actually in love with this stitch. I really like the way it looks, and I like the way it looks on both sides. And I also like it when it's nice and loose. So by doing this stitch with this yarn, because this is the yarn I'm going to do the project in, and I did it on this 5/8 inch loom, I'm actually thinking of going to a 3/4 inch loom when I do my project, just so that I'll have a looser stitch, because I'd like to have a bit of a looser stitch. But this stitch looks nice. This is a tighter stitch for if you want to have a tighter project. And it's really nice and textured. And here's your other side. And for stretch, it's got a lot of stretch both ways. See? It's a very nice stitch, and it lays completely flat. Although it's hard to see it on the loom like this, but not curling anywhere, it's just flat. And your sides look really good. Okay, so that should be enough to get you going. You can use this in a really fine gauge if you'd like. It comes out really nice, and you even see the pattern more if you use a very thin yarn with a fine gauge. It looks really good bulky like this. It would be good for a scarf, a shawl, poncho even. blanket, hat, cowl. You actually name it. It'll work for everything, and it'll work round or it'll work flat. So I hope you enjoy this stitch and have a lot of fun. And until next time, bye.